Hi, I want to show today the composer feature. So the composer feature uses TensorflowJS to analyze tweet sentiment, and it draws a linear regression in order to predict the expected engagement based on the sentiment. This information is used for an AI editor that helps create tweets with the right sentiment. So here we see the KPIs that it has an average engagement by tweets of around 3 and an average sentiment of around 69. If we use this with a simple tweet, we will see that this tweet has an average sentiment of 100, a sentiment of 100, and expected engagement of 3. This makes sense because there's in this example there's no correlation between the tweets and the engagement. So to take a look at the code, here is the pull request. It's still open at the moment. There are 5 things that are going on, and the first is the sentiment analysis on the tweets. This is used for this plot and for the rest of the view. Then it performs a prediction inside the editor with an engagement prediction. It has the sentiment list, the tweets list, each one with its expected sentiment. Minor fixes to the code from the REST application. It's not important in this case, and the reusable panel component. I've been using this panel for a couple of views, but for the first time I created a standalone panel component. So just to look at the code, here it's package.js. Okay. Okay. So first, the analysis. It has a couple of styling here. Not important. Well, even if it's important. A couple of commented out, and here occurs the analysis. I'll see if I can make this not split. Makes more sense. Okay, makes more sense like this. Okay, so this is the composer feature. It starts by performing some linear regression. Well, this is a utility function. This is mostly math, not much to say in here, but it returns the slope, the intercept, and the R2 value. This is just to calculate this line. While this is a utility from the chart, I needed this to calculate the expected engagement. Then get sentiment. Okay, this is another utility function used by TensorflowJS. This helps format the vector in the right input for the TensorflowJS model. Again, mostly formatting, and then the get sentiment. The get sentiment receives a text, a model. This is provided by TensorFlow, and metadata. This is the with which model, how the model will be constructed. Like in this particular case, with which vocabulary the model will be used, and it outputs a score. Here we see a couple interesting stuff. Well, first, it's again more formatting, and then here is the important part when it's called the TensorFlow with the padded sequence, this part, and then with the data from the metadata with some values, and it finally calls the model and to predicts it, and it returns it as a TensorFlow and as a tensor. So these are utility functions using the composer. The composer is the entire view, and in this case the composer, let's see how it looks. It has the editor and the sentiment. The editor is this part and the sentiment is this part. It starts by using with a use effect. So in this case, it has analyze tweets. It is triggered by the data. So when the data gets fed into the component, the tweets are analyzed. It starts by loading the model and then by analyzing the tweets. The model is just a fetch, a simple fetch from TensorFlow. And then the analyzed tweets are first the model is loaded, and after that tests if there are some tweets, and it just disable this. Okay, so in this case I might need to restore this. Okay, good. So in this case, the tweets are analyzed, the recent tweets. I only analyze the last 10 tweets, otherwise it would be expensive in terms of computation, and I get the results of each one using this utility function, the get sentiment. There needs to be a second process that's as an async process when the sentiment is turned into a number. And this is using a promise all. And finally, these tweets are set as a state. Once these tweets are set as a state, the intercept and the slope are computed. And this is fed in order to the editor and the tweets. This part is the most difficult one. The other part is just creating a prediction from this model that is already here, using the tweets and plotting the data. In this occasion, I will not go very deep. I just think it's interesting to see how the prediction is performed. So in here, okay, so in here, the editor has an evaluate function, and the evaluate function receives a text, which is what I'm outputting here. So the less and wonder I feel, the angrier I get. I don't know what's going on, but it angry. So the angry gets a sentiment of 1. Happy gets a sentiment of 98. Okay. So this using the evaluate function uses the sentiment, again the utility function, again calls the promise and returns the value. Then uses the slope and the intercept to calculate the expected value, and this expected value is fed into here. Here we see expected, set expected, and set expected. In a later video I will review how this is done. So thanks for watching.